Anyways, can I briefly go over accrued interest? I certainly can. Can I go over accretion? I certainly can. There is no distinction between going over accretion and going over amortization. Gabe, on the Uniform Practice Code, which standardizes trading practices within the securities industry, the buyer of a bond is going to pay the seller of the bond the dollar amount of the accrued interest. So, Gabe, I lent to the Ford Motor Company $100,000. The coupon, the nominal yield, fixed or stated rate of return on that bond was 8%. So I'm going to get a check, assuming Ford doesn't default, on January 1st for $4,000. On July 1st, another check for $4,000. That $4,000 represents the entire 6-month time frame. And let's say I decide to sell the bond. And let's say I sell it to Brian. So I'm selling him the bond on Tuesday, July 22nd. I say, now, Brian, on January 1st, you're going to get a check that represents the entire 6-month time frame. And not all of that $4,000, Brian, belongs to you. Some of that $4,000 belongs to me. And he says, well, Dean, when I get the check, I'll send you your pro rata share. I say, Brian, this is not a relationship. This is a transaction. Why don't we right now just figure out how much of that $4,000 belongs to me? So these were my bonds on today, July 22nd. They're not Brian's bonds until tomorrow. That's settlement. Settlement is when ownership changes hands. Trade date is when we agree to terms. And so we're going to calculate the number of days of accrued interest from the last interest payment date, July 1st, up to but not including settlement date. So here, Brian is going to owe me 22 days of accrued interest. Now, I think it's more of a memory question than a practical application question. However, that being said, when we came up with the Uniform Practice Code, Gabe, we didn't want our high talent men and women to have to remember nursery rhymes and knuckle humps about how many days have September. And so in the Uniform Practice Code, corporates and munis have 30-day months, right? So July has 30, February has 30. Now, if you want to use a shortcut, you can actually just take 7/23, July 23rd settlement, subtract last interest payment date, 7/1, and you would come up with the 22 days. So I have a shortcut. If you put accrued interest, Gabe, into the channel search bar, here we go, you will find literally probably 10 videos of me doing accrued interest calculations, as well as a lecture on accrued interest. So put that in the channel search bar and you can get it. Now, governments are goofy. They use a actual calendar.